A 2,500-year-old mass grave in central Israel is revealing something fascinating about some Bible stories found in your Old Testament.
Imagine walking across ancient ground, a place mentioned in the Bible, a place where one of the most famous battles in history once happened. Now imagine digging beneath that same soil, expecting to find tools, pottery, maybe even weapons. But instead, you uncover something no one was prepared for, a hidden chamber filled with bones. Not soldiers, not warriors, but children, very young children. For over 2,500 years, this secret remained buried, untouched, silent, until now. Before we uncover what was really found and why it may completely change how we understand parts of the Bible, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss discoveries like this. Now, let's step into one of the most disturbing and fascinating finds in biblical archaeology. The site of Tel Azekah lies quietly in the Judean lowlands, about 30 kilometers southwest of Jerusalem. To the casual observer, it is a peaceful landscape, but to historians and biblical scholars, it is sacred ground, mentioned in Scripture as the battlefield where David faced the giant Goliath in one of the most iconic encounters of the Bible. It was here that Oded Lipschits and his team from Tel Aviv University conducted years of excavation. Their work aimed to uncover layers of ancient life, from pottery and architecture to agricultural remains. For a long time, their findings followed predictable patterns, until one day in 2013 when they reached deeper into an ancient cistern. At the lowest levels, they found exactly what they expected: fragments of pottery used centuries ago to draw water. But as they moved upward toward more recent layers, something deeply unsettling appeared. Hundreds of small, fragile bones. At first, confusion dominated the site. The bones were scattered, delicate, and unusually small. It took careful analysis before the truth became clear. This was not a typical burial site. This was a mass grave. And not just any mass grave. It belonged primarily to infants and very young children. The excavation was handled with extraordinary care. Every fragment was documented, every inch recorded. Yet even with such precision, the meaning of the discovery remained elusive for years. According to Lipschits, it took time, not just for analysis but for courage, to confront what they had found. Years later, detailed study revealed a startling reality. The remains represented at least 68 individuals, possibly as many as 89. Nearly 90% were children under the age of 5. Even more striking, about 70% were under the age of 2. These were not victims of a single catastrophic event. The remains had been deposited over nearly a century, between the 6th and 5th centuries BCE, during the early Persian period. This timeline changed everything. If this had been a sudden tragedy, a plague, a massacre, or a disaster, the bones would have told a different story. But they did not. There were no clear signs of violence, no evidence of disease etched into the skeletons. Instead, the pattern suggested something slower, more persistent, something woven into the fabric of everyday life in the ancient world. To understand this discovery, we must step into a reality far removed from our own. In ancient times, child mortality was devastatingly high. It was not uncommon for 4 or 5 children out of 7 to die before reaching the age of 4. Illnesses we now consider minor could be fatal. A simple infection, a fever, or even malnutrition could end a life before it truly began. Within this context, the burial practices revealed at Tel Azekah begin to make sense, not as acts of cruelty, but as reflections of a harsh reality. Infants, especially those not yet weaned, were often not regarded as full members of society. This does not mean they were unloved. On the contrary, ancient texts suggest deep emotional bonds between parents and their children. But culturally, identity and social recognition were often tied to survival beyond infancy. The Bible itself offers subtle insights into this worldview. In the book of Samuel, we read about Hannah, who prayed desperately for a child. When her son Samuel was born, she did not immediately dedicate him to the temple. Instead, she kept him with her until he was weaned. As it is written in 1 Samuel chapter 1, verse 22, "I will not go up until the child is weaned, and then I will take him, that he may appear before the Lord." Only after this stage did Samuel receive a recognized role and identity within the religion. Similarly, in Genesis chapter 21, verse 8, we are told that Abraham held a great feast when his son Isaac was weaned, marking a significant transition in the child's life. These passages suggest that survival past early infancy was not just biological, it was symbolic. It marked entry into recognized personhood within the community. One of the most unsettling questions surrounding the discovery was whether these children were victims of ritual sacrifice. Such practices did exist in certain ancient cultures. However, the evidence at Tel Azekah strongly argues against this. In known cases of child sacrifice, remains are often burned and placed in ceremonial containers. Here, the bodies showed no signs of burning. There were no ritual artifacts suggesting sacrificial practices. Instead, the remains appear to have been placed, or possibly dropped, into the cistern over time. This points to a different explanation, a communal method of handling infant death in a society where such tragedies were tragically common. The structure itself tells part of the story. Originally, the cistern served as a vital water source, likely used for centuries. But at some point, it fell out of use. Layers of debris and soil indicate a period of abandonment before it was repurposed. Over the next 100 years, it became a place where the smallest and most vulnerable members of society were laid to rest, not in individual graves, but together, in silence. Eventually, during the Hellenistic period, the site was sealed, preserving its contents for over 2 millennia. Artifacts found alongside the remains, pottery, tools, and everyday objects, confirm that the people of Tel Azekah during this period were part of a Judean community. This was the era following the destruction of Jerusalem in 586 BCE, a time often associated with exile. Yet archaeological evidence suggests that many Judeans remained in the land, continuing their lives amidst political upheaval. This discovery, therefore, does more than reveal burial practices. It offers a glimpse into the resilience of a people navigating loss, survival, and identity in a challenging era. Today, researchers are turning to advanced DNA analysis to uncover even more details. By examining genetic material from the remains, scientists hope to determine relationships between the individuals, their origins, and even aspects of their health. Such technology was unimaginable when these children were laid to rest. Yet now, thousands of years later, it may give them a voice. What makes this discovery so powerful is not just what was found, but what it reveals. It challenges modern assumptions about ancient life. It forces us to confront the realities of survival in a world without modern medicine. And it highlights the complex intersection between culture, faith, and human emotion. Most importantly, it reminds us that behind every bone, every fragment, every layer of earth, there was a life, however brief, touched by love, loss, and memory. As it is written in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 20, "All go unto one place, all are of the dust, and all turn to dust again. The mass grave at Tel Azekah is not the end of a story. It is the beginning of one. A beginning that invites archaeologists, historians, and believers alike to look deeper, to ask harder questions, to seek understanding not just in grand events, but in the quiet, often overlooked details of human existence. And perhaps, in doing so, we come closer to understanding not only the ancient world, but ourselves.